Howdy, y'all. Caleb here, and we've got two lists to look at from last weekend. Both of them come from the Nova Open GT. This is in Washington, D.C. Bunch of people showing up to play in this GT, and it took place over 3 days. So if you made the cut, you would get into the final day. There were 8 players in that final day, and they kind of went through an elimination tournament. Pretty sweet GT they had there, and lots of big names showing up for that GT. You'll recognize if you look at the placings, you'll recognize some of these guys, and it was a tough field of a lot of really good players. Some of these guys, they keep showing up every week in these top Seraphim lists. I don't know how you guys are getting to all these GTs. I'm lucky to get to like one tournament a month. So, man, good on you guys. That's probably why y'all are placing so high. You keep playing. That's sort of key to this game. The more you play, the better you'll get. Gavin Greiger, who we've talked about him before. He's quite a good player down here from Texas. Plays out of Houston, and he shows up a lot of these GTs. Very good player. Does play Seraphim quite a bit, and he made it to the top cut and placed well. Came in third, it looks like. And let's take a look at his list. So he has played before. He's done the whole triple snakes Bastiladon list. He's played with that one and done quite well. This one's a little bit different. But we are in Thunder Lizard. Show of Dominance is a grand strategy. That means you have to end up with one Galician veteran within each quarter of the table. Now remember with this one's kind of goofy because if you have one Galician veteran model on the very center of the board, the 4 points, that counts because of the wording. So you just got to keep one Galician veteran alive. And that will count any Source Warriors you summon from your Engine of God. So a great grand strategy to bring. Usually you can get this if you're beating your opponent, as you can get some models into the middle of the board. Triumph Inspired for +1 to wound. Leaders are Lord Kroak and the Source Astrolith Bear. We've seen this combination a lot popping up in this edition, and it is very strong. There's a lot of magic being thrown around, and Kroak is a great spellcaster. Not only that, a great defensive caster as well, because he can unbind board wide. He's going to have 4 chances to unbind, and generally, he's going to be at +3 to unbind. So with Kroak, what you're doing is he's got a native +2 to cast, unbind, dispel. You can get another +1 to all of those from the Sacred Asterisms for Seraphim. You get to choose one of those 3 buffs at the beginning of your turn. You're going to generally choose that +1 to cast unless you need one of the other ones for a specific reason. So Kroak is pretty much always going to be at +3. The Astrolith Bearer gives him another +1 to cast, but it also extends the range of Kroak. So keep that in mind. It's a very good piece for that. So it gives you an extra 6 inches. And an extra 6 inches. I can't even say that with a straight face. An extra 6 inches. Never mind. An extra 6 inches is always good. All right, let's move on. Skink Priest is another hero. And he's got the Universal Prayer of Heal. Keep those Bastiladons alive, because he does have 3 Bastiladons, which we'll look at here in a minute. But he's not taking all the snakes ones again. Engine of the Gods as your general with Prime Warbeast to give you extra attacks. Arcane Tome, which is so good in this new edition because you're going to be able to cast all the Kroak stuff through the Skink Wizard, which is an Engine of the God now that it has an Arcane Tome. But also, you're getting a +1 to cast on this Engine of the Gods too from Astrolith. So if you cast Lord Kroak's spell to give all the other wizards a +1 to cast, now your Engine of the Gods is going to be at +2 to cast. Just super useful. Mount Trade is Beastmaster, great utility, either +1 to attacks or run, shoot, and charge. Spell Hand of Glory, you're going to be passing that out to whatever you want. Probably his Bastiladon, the shooting Bastiladon here in a minute that we'll see. But also put it on the engine if you're taking that into combat. And Prayer, Scripture of Curse, which is just glorious. That's hits of 6 equal a mortal wound on a target. So pop that on a target and then shoot all these skinks at them, which you don't really care that they have terrible shots in this army, but you're looking for 6s. We do have 40 skinks in this list. They're all in expert conquerors, so they're going to be trying to capture your objectives, kind of play the board control game. 5 source guard to take off those wounds from Kroak when he has any wounds afflicted to him. And then 3 Bastiladons. We do have 2 Arca Sotek. Those are the snake Bastiladons. Kind of the board control. They're super cheap, 165. They're not going to do a ton of damage, but if you're good at rolling 6s, they might. They are really, really good tar pits, though. All 3 of those have a 1-up save, so you're looking to just get them stuck into things. I do like having the solar engine on one of these, kind of mixing it up, gives you a long-range threat. That the the solar engine's much easier for us smooth brains who don't understand how you guys are winning with these Arc of Soteks. So 3 Bastiladons, always fun. Then endless spells, we've got a chronomatic cogs. Oh, nice. So chronomatic cogs will let you reroll all your spells, which is good because nothing kills Kroak, but nothing hurts Kroak worse than when your first spell you roll Snake Eyes. You miscast, do damage to yourself. That is not fun. So cogs will help let you reroll all those things. Help him get his spells out even better in case you needed that. Foregast, a great little spell to throw across the board and play in the shut down your Inspiring Presence and not let them save those models that are running. So great stuff there. 11 drops, 120 wounds, which is rough for Thunder Lizard. That's a lot of wounds for Thunder Lizard. Granted, 40 of them aren't going to be -1 damage, but they're playing the board game there. So, all right, good stuff. Great list there from Gavin, as always. Let's see. Next list here, we've got didn't make the cut to the 3rd day, but had a great showing still. Had a 4-1. Came in at number 20. That shows you how many people were in this tournament. 102 people in this tournament. Wow, big one. Nice. At place 20, we had Basil with 4 wins. Went 4-1 with Seraphim. Let's look at his list here. I think we've looked at one of his lists before, and he's done well before. We've talked about Basil. Thunder Lizard Constellation. Grand strategy, defend what's ours. So that one's the one where you're just trying to keep the enemy out of your deployment zone. Basically, if you're winning the game, you're probably getting this one as well. So a decent grand strategy to take. We have as our leaders Engine of the Gods with Prime Orbeez, Arcane Tome, Beastmaster, Hand of Glory, and Curse. Sounds familiar, doesn't it? Oh, look here. We've also got Lord Kroak and a Saurus Astrolith Bear. So you can kind of see the core of our Thunder Lizard list kind of shaking out here. We're seeing a lot of Engine of the Gods with Arcane Tome, Lord Kroak, and Astrolith Bear. That forms a very potent core right now to our list. So talked about all that stuff here just a few minutes ago, and I think we've probably covered some of those in the previous weeks too. This kind of core of a list is doing very well in the current meta. Basil does have a Skink Star Priest with Bind Endless Spells. So if those Endless Spells do get off against you, you have a way to say, you like that spell? Guess what? It's now mine. And he's got a Skink Priest with Heal. Also a good prayer there. So, I'm looking at this, and we have 3 casters here, and 2 of those are going to probably be at +2 to cast at least turn 1 from Kroak's spell and the Astrolith, and then Kroak's going to be at +4 to cast. So a very powerful casting army, and he does have 3 endless spells. So we do have 3 things to get to pump out their turn 1 if you needed them: Horgast, Purple Sun, and Gnashing Jaws. I'm really liking Gnashing Jaws. I've been playing that quite a bit here at home, and it is so much fun. Sometimes it spikes big, especially against the right unit. I had it out one game, and it was terrorizing my opponent the entire time. So that was that was pretty fun. He couldn't dispel it. He kept failing at dispelling it, and so it was just chomping away his whole army. A fun endless spell. Like, if you don't have enough points for Purple Sun, if you're like down 10 points, take Gnashing Jaws. It can be as much fun. Obviously, Purple Sun is very good right now. That -1 to save is just amazing. especially paired with Basil here. He's got 2 Bastiladons with solar engines. And so if you can get that purple sun onto that unit, now your Bastiladons are effectively hitting with -2 rend, which is just is so great. So great. Battle line is pretty skimpy here. We've only got 2 units of Skinks and a unit of Saurus Guard. So probably hoping to get some summons from the engine, but you're looking to kill some stuff with these endless spells and Bastiladons. The opponent's going to have to deal with those things before they're worrying about your battle line. All those battle line are in Expert Conquerors. He's also got Command Entourage for the extra artifact at 95 wounds, 10 drops. So these drops these days are getting pretty high. Everybody's wanting these Expert Conquerors and Bounty Hunters and stuff. We don't really care too much about people giving Bounty Hunters against us since we're -1 damage in Thunder Lizard. But great list here. A lot of stuff going on in the hero phase. A lot of shooting. Not a whole lot in melee, to be honest. Your only melee threat is the Engine of the Gods. That's about it. Everything else is going to be in shooting or in magic phase. So make good allocation of resources there to make sure that you're killing stuff in those 2 phases and not relying on melee. So, all right, guys. 2 good lists. Both did quite well at a big GT this week. If I didn't cover your list, let us know in the comments below what it was. I'm only looking at BCP. I'm sure there's other places to look, but all right, guys. Catch y'all next time.